They say loneliness fades with time. They lied until one rainy night, someone 20 years younger walked into my life and into my heart. Welcome back to the channel. Tonight's story is quiet, but it might stay with you longer than you think. Have you ever felt something for someone you knew you shouldn't? Tell me in the comments. I'm listening. And if this story moved you, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support keeps these real moments alive. Elena was anticipating visitors that evening. The rain whispered softly against the windows of her apartment. She had just completed the delicate task of folding a soft blanket on the couch. She ignited her cherished candle, a blend of lavender and cedarwood, allowing the comforting aroma to envelop the space. It was the perfect evening for her. A steaming cup of tea, an enchanting old black and white film flickering on the screen, and a soothing silence enveloping the room. She found herself devoid of plans, unburdened by obligations, simply enveloped in tranquility. Suddenly, her phone vibrated with a buzz. Aisha, her former college companion, now dedicated to her role as a nurse, toiled through long hours. Months had slipped by without a glimpse of one another, yet the sporadic messages continued to flow. "Elena, I'm at the hospital and running a double," came the text. Shift Eli is in the vicinity, paying a visit to a friend. However, they decided to cancel on him. Would it be possible for him to stay at your place for a few hours? He finds himself without a single place to turn. Elena blinked at the message, taken aback. Eli. The last time she laid eyes on him, he was a teenager, lanky and quiet, perpetually concealed behind a book or the comforting fabric of a hoodie. She responded promptly, naturally, "Send him over." 30 minutes later, the doorbell chimed. Elena swung the door open, her smile bright, but then she came to an abrupt halt. Before her stood not the boy she recalled. Eli had matured into a young man, tall and slender, his dark eyes reflecting a serene composure. He donned a modest gray hoodie, his hands tucked into the pockets, a respectful smile gracing his lips. "Hello, Aunt Elena," he murmured gently. His voice had taken on a deeper quality, gentle and almost soothing in its resonance. "Eli," Elena finally uttered, still grappling with the overwhelming sight of him. "Oh my, I hardly would have known it was you." With a soft chuckle, she stepped aside after a few years. "Step inside, step inside. It seems you might be feeling weary." Eli nodded and stepped into the inviting apartment, casting a quick glance around. It's pleasant in this space, exuding an essence that seems to come alive. Elena let out a hearty laugh. What a lyrical expression to convey its modest size, adorned with an abundance of candles. He settled onto the edge of the couch, a smile gracing his lips. "It resonates with me." Elena extended an invitation for tea, and he graciously accepted. Before long, they found themselves nestled together on the couch, engrossed in the timeless allure of Casablanca. When he arrived, it was already in progress, yet he appeared unfazed by the prospect of joining Dot midway. Initially, Elena experienced a sense of discomfort. She was almost 2 decades his senior. She was playing the gracious host to her friend's son. It ought to have seemed like a familiar ritual. Yet the path. He observed the screen, his gaze occasionally drifting toward her, igniting a sensation within her that was both peculiar and exhilarating. Eli refrained from glancing at his phone. He remained still. He observed in silence, intent and absorbed. "I like this movie," he murmured softly. "It resonates with authenticity." Elena cast a fleeting look in his direction. "That is precisely the reason I hold it dear." It takes its time, allowing moments to unfold naturally. It allows events to reveal themselves naturally. He regarded her, his eyes gentle. I observed that quality in you as well. Elena paused, caught in a fleeting moment of stillness. Could you clarify what you mean? Do you savor each moment? One does not impose their will upon circumstances. Such occurrences are uncommon in today's world. At a loss for words, she chose silence as her only reply. As if drawn by an invisible thread, their hands converged upon the popcorn simultaneously. Their fingers brushed against each other. It was a fleeting moment, unintentional, yet neither chose to retreat. Elena felt her heart quicken. She sensed an unfamiliar sensation, a vibrancy in the atmosphere that lingered between them. She reassured herself that it was merely the film, merely a wave of nostalgia, merely the stillness of the night. Yet beneath the surface, she sensed a change had occurred. Uncertainty lingered in her mind, casting doubt on her readiness for the unfolding events ahead. The film concluded, yet the ensuing silence resonated with a profound fullness. It was brimming, overflowing with an essence that Elena struggled to articulate. She gazed at the credits as they unfurled, feigning a deeper engagement than she truly felt. Her fingers retained a lingering warmth from the moment their hands brushed over the popcorn bowl, a gesture steeped in innocence. However, I suppose I should be on my way, Eli remarked, casting a glance at the clock. It's late, Elena responded. You're welcome to remain. The guest room is prepared and awaiting your arrival. He inclined his head in acknowledgement. Thank you, but might we delve a bit deeper into this conversation? It has been ages since I've experienced an evening as tranquil as this one. Of course, she replied, gesturing toward the kitchen. Come, let me prepare some tea for you. They occupied opposite sides of the quaint wooden table. A gentle amber light lingered overhead, enveloping their faces in a tender warmth. The rain had ceased its fall, yet the wind continued to weave through the branches, stirring the trees with a gentle insistence. Eli encircled the warm mug with his hands. I never anticipated finding such joy in this place. Elena offered a gentle smile. What's stopping us? He offered a nonchalant shrug. I suppose I imagined you would perceive me as a child. All do. Forever Aisha's boy, or the reserved presence at family gatherings. She let out a soft laugh. I once found myself in the humble task of changing your diapers, Eli. He chuckled softly, bowing his head slightly. I would appreciate it if you could refrain from mentioning that. Elena's laughter gradually diminished as her gaze settled upon him. The boy she once remembered had transformed into a man, still gentle and quiet, yet now bearing a weightier presence in his gaze. Are you all right? She inquired, her voice taking on a gentler quality. He paused, uncertainty flickering in his eyes. I suppose I've merely been adrift, completed my studies and gained some work experience, yet everything seems amiss. I consistently adhere to the anticipated norms, finding myself exactly where I am meant to be. Yet, I find myself feeling out of place, as if I don't belong anywhere. Elena absorbed his words, allowing him to express himself freely. It had been an eternity since anyone had uttered a word to me. She is raw, honest, and vulnerable. You don't need to have everything sorted, she remarked. The majority do not. He raised his gaze to meet hers. Do you really? She paused for a moment, then replied, I did. There came a moment when everything shifted and I found myself beginning anew. At this moment, I find myself on a journey of self-discovery. Their gazes intertwined, lingering in a moment that stretched just a heartbeat longer than usual. Here, I can breathe. Eli murmured, as if there's no need for pretense. Elena remained silent, yet her heart spoke volumes in response. She experienced a peculiar serenity in his presence, an unexpected solace. "I ought to retire for the night," Eli remarked, rising gradually from his seat. "Thank you for this evening." As he made his way to leave, he lingered momentarily at the threshold of the kitchen door. "I'm pleased it was you who greeted me at the door earlier." Uncertain of how to articulate her thoughts, she merely nodded, a constriction forming in her throat. "Sweet dreams, Elena. Sleep well, Eli." He ascended the staircase and vanished into the guest room. Elena lingered at the kitchen table, cradling the warm tea in her hands, lost in thought. She gazed at the candlelight dancing softly by the window. Her heart was ensnared in a web of thoughts, elusive and intricate, refusing to be unraveled. He was the son of her friend. It was merely a tranquil evening, a simple conversation, a film to watch. And yet why did her hand still recall the sensation of his? What was it about his words that resonated so deeply within her heart? A new chapter was unfolding. She sensed it deeply. Yet she remained unaware of the depths it could reach or the price it might demand. Elena stirred from her slumber as the first light of dawn crept into the room. A golden hue spread gently over the hardwood floor of her bedroom, infusing the stillness with warmth. She perched on the edge of the bed, her mind a labyrinth of thoughts from the night prior. There was neither a kiss, nor a confession, nor any crossing of boundaries. Yet, a change had occurred. She sensed it in the manner Eli gazed at her, conversed with her, and truly heard her. For years she had wandered through life, unnoticed and unacknowledged, but now, in this moment, she felt a profound sense of recognition. Clad in a soft robe, Elena made her way to the kitchen, where she set about preparing breakfast. She glided with deliberate slowness, attempting to embody a role. It was perfectly ordinary, a mere visit, a simple favor extended to an old friend. Yet her hands faltered, hesitating intermittently as her thoughts drifted to the sound of his voice, the warmth of his laughter. Those eyes of his. As she poured the tea, the sound of footsteps echoed softly behind her. "Morning," Eli murmured, his voice heavy with the remnants of slumber. Elena pivoted. He lingered in the doorway, hair disheveled, hoodie creased from a night of slumber. For a fleeting moment, his gaze locked onto hers before he averted his eyes. "Morning," she replied, her smile gentle and inviting. "I trust the bed met your expectations. Better than just fine," he remarked as he entered. "It's been ages since I last experienced such a profound sense of restfulness." He settled into the small table, where Elena gracefully set down a plate adorned with eggs and toast before him. They dined in a silence that felt at ease, yet held an undercurrent of unspoken thoughts. A silence that lingers in the air. "I appreciate this," he remarked, savoring a bite. "You needn't have done that." "You're a guest," she remarked, her gaze fixed on him from across the table. "Your single quotes are ... It's not difficult to manage." He cast a fleeting look in her direction, followed by a soft smile. "That may very well be the kindest remark I've received in quite some time." Elena mirrored the smile, yet her heart danced with a flutter. She loathed the way it effortlessly yielded to him. After they completed their breakfast, Eli was eager to assist her with the dishes. They positioned themselves next to each other at the sink, the gentle melodies of morning birds serenade just beyond the window. "May I pose a question to you?" He spoke in a hushed tone. "Certainly." Have you ever sensed that life slipped away while you were busy fulfilling others' expectations? The question weighed upon her more than she had anticipated. She gazed at him, truly gazed, and nodded with deliberation. "Indeed," she replied. "For years, I meticulously followed the path laid before me, adhering to every guideline and expectation. Yet, at some point in this journey, I lost sight of the question that truly mattered. What is it that I genuinely desire?" Eli's eyes held her in a steady, unwavering stare. "Have you come to a conclusion yet?" She paused, uncertainty flickering in her eyes. "While uncertainty lingers, clarity emerges in the realm of my aversions. Is there an abundance of solitude still lingering?" He cast his gaze toward the sink, then returned his eyes to her. "You appear to be quite content in your solitude." "I've mastered the art of concealment," she murmured. The silence returns once more. Fully loaded. Then, the phone vibrated softly against the surface of the table. Zayan examined it from within. "Mother is en route. She is expected to arrive in 10 minutes. Elena inclined her head, retreating a step. "It is time to gather your belongings." He lingered for a moment, hesitant to take the next step. Instead, he took his time drying his hands before turning to face her. "I enjoyed my time here," he remarked, "with you." "I'm glad," Elena replied, her mind racing for the right words to follow. He grasped his modest backpack and positioned himself by the door. He hesitated before lifting the lid. "May I return for another visit sometime soon?" Merely to pay a visit, merely to engage in conversation. She gazed at him, her heart constricted, then gave a slight nod. "Indeed, that sounds appealing." With a subtle smile, he ventured outside, vanishing down the corridor. Elena softly shut the door, her hand lingering on the smooth surface of the wood. The room exuded a stillness that seemed deeper than before, an unsettling sense of emptiness lingering in the air. The week meandered by, each day stretching out like a languid river, flowing with an unhurried grace. Each evening, Elena would catch herself stealing glances at her phone, searching for messages that never arrived. The silence in her apartment was palpable, a stark contrast to the noise that once filled the space. The movie they had seen lingered in the DVD player, untouched, a frozen moment suspended in time. She had not resumed the playback. On Thursday evening, shortly after dinner, the doorbell chimed as she opened the door. Eli lingered, cradling 2 cups of coffee, a subtle smile playing on his lips. "I didn't text first," he said, a hint of nervousness in his voice. "I found myself uncertain about whether to proceed." Elena's breath hitched, yet her heart leapt into action before her thoughts could catch up. She pushed the door open further. "Your presence is always appreciated." He entered the room. "I thought you might enjoy the hazelnut variety." She grasped the cup and offered a subtle nod. You recalled. They transitioned to the living room, taking their places at opposite ends of the couch. The distance that separated them exuded a sense of safety, yet it was delicate, as if it contained an abundance of unspoken words lingering in the air. "How have you been faring?" she inquired, her lips gently meeting the rim of the cup as she savored the coffee, each sip deliberate and measured. Eli reclined slightly, a sense of tranquility washing over him, even amidst the haze of uncertainty. Elena cast her gaze upon him. He remained still. He was not restless. He appeared as though he was meant to be there, as if he had always been a part of that place. Initially, their conversation meandered through the realm of trivialities. "It is work on a part-time basis," her garden, a narrative she was revisiting. Gradually, their words evolved, becoming more profound and sincere. "I'm uncertain about the direction my life is taking," he confessed after a moment of hesitation. "Perhaps it seems odd to express this. Yet in our conversations, I sense a reassurance that I am not faltering." "You're not," she said softly. "You are merely in pursuit. Such endeavors require patience." He smiled with gratitude. Elena's heart twisted at the thought of wishing she could encounter more souls like yours. She was acutely aware that this was perilous ground. He was in his youth. He was the son of her friend. Yet, as I sat across from him in this moment, all of that faded into insignificance. He beheld her, not as an older woman, nor as a figure from his mother's realm, but simply as Elena. The silence that enveloped them grew denser once more. Then his question emerged, gentle and subdued. "Have you ever pondered the sensation of being desired once more?" Elena sensed the breath escape her body. Her gaze fell, a cloud of uncertainty hanging over her words. Her voice emerged softer than she had meant it to be. "More than I care to acknowledge." Eli inched nearer, yet maintained a careful distance. "I've never experienced such an intense pull towards another person before. I'm not entirely sure what that signifies, yet I'm certain it transcends mere age. It transcends mere admiration." Their gazes intertwined. His expression held no trace of playfulness. There was no confusion, only a raw vulnerability and a yearning that reflected her own. "We really shouldn't do this," Elena whispered. "I understand," he remarked. "Yet I refuse to feign indifference to what I truly feel." She momentarily shut her eyes. "This has the potential to cause harm to individuals." "It might very well be something tangible," he responded. The room lay in silence. Their words lingered in the atmosphere, ethereal and elusive, reminiscent of curling tendrils of smoke. Then, softly, Eli extended his hand across the distance, gently resting it on hers, a touch that was more about presence than possession. The touch conveyed warmth and respect. Elena remained still, her anticipation palpable in the air. They remained in silence for an extended period, words unspoken between them. No kiss. There are no guarantees. A simple convergence of two hands, softly joining at the center. In that delicate stillness, the barriers encasing Elena's heart started to fracture, allowing a rush of both fear and beauty to seep in. For the next few days, Elena drifted through her routines like a specter, her hands methodically washing dishes. She strolled through the grocery aisles, her lips curving into courteous smiles. Yet her thoughts lingered on Eli. She endeavored to reason with herself, seeking to create a chasm between her emotions and the realm of possibility. He was the son of her friend. He was in his youth, navigating the complexities of existence. What could she present to him that wouldn't carry the weight of remorse? And yet, as she revisited his voice, the words lingered, suggesting that it might indeed be something tangible. Her heart fluttered with emotions she hadn't experienced in ages. On that Sunday afternoon, while she tended to her plants on the balcony, a knock echoed at the door. With deliberate care, she eased it open. Once more, it was Eli. He appeared anxious this time. His hands were nestled within the confines of a navy blue jacket's pockets. His gaze sought hers. "I needed to see you," he murmured gently. Elena withdrew slightly, granting him entry, heart pounding. In the living room, they remained silent at first, each lost in their own thoughts. The atmosphere was charged with an unspoken connection that lingered in the air, delicate, unvoiced, tense. Since that night, my thoughts have been a tangled web, elusive and chaotic. Eli finally remarked, "I understand it's intricate. I understand how this may appear, but I assure you I am not perplexed." Elena cast a glance his way, striving to maintain her composure. "Eli, we have ventured beyond the boundaries." "Indeed, we did not," he responded. Our hands met, and in that fleeting instant, we shared something genuine. She shut her eyes, grappling with the tumult of feelings surging within her heart. "Your son, Aisha. She feels like family to me." What might her words be if she were aware of his forward lean? "We have committed no wrongdoing. Feelings remain indifferent to the opinions of others." This caught me by surprise. I didn't seek it out, yet it resonates within me. "And I am certain you feel the same way." Elena rose to her feet, restless and unable to remain seated. "You are 24 years old. You will encounter a kindred spirit, someone whose aspirations align seamlessly with your own. I cannot be the reason you miss that." Eli rose as well, yet remained at a distance. "That's merely the voice of fear echoing through the silence." "No," she said, her voice quivering with emotion. "That is the essence of existence." They faced one another, a palpable tension hanging in the air between them. Feelings dance in the stillness of the space. Then, in a gentler tone, he inquired, "Are you suggesting that I should walk away?" Elena's lips parted, yet the words eluded her grasp. "I care about you," he said softly, "more than I can put into words. I remain indifferent to the opinions of the world around me. My only concern is whether there's a possibility that you share my feelings." She lifted her gaze to meet his. Matt, the unwavering calm reflected in his gaze. Honesty was etched across his features. Her eyes brimmed with tears. "I do indeed," she murmured softly. Eli's features relaxed into a gentler demeanor. Yet, she confessed, "I'm uncertain if that will suffice, for fear grips me, fearful of making a mistake, fearful of causing you pain, fearful of the potential losses that lie ahead." He advanced with a measured pace, extending his hand, then paused, leaving her with the decision. "A promise is unnecessary for me," he stated. "I simply seek the truth." Elena gazed at his hand, suspended in the air, poised in anticipation. Her hand longed to extend, yet she chose to retreat instead. "Time is what I seek." She murmured "An," gently lowered his hand, and nodded in understanding. His disappointment lingered in the air, subtle yet unmistakable. "I'll wait," he murmured gently, "but not for eternity." He turned and walked out the door, devoid of anger or pleading. Elena remained motionless, enveloped in the stillness he had departed with. Her heart ached with the weight of unspoken words, for now she faced a choice. Was she safeguarding her future? The days that followed Zaya's departure were more tranquil than any Elena had experienced in quite some time. She glided through her apartment like a whisper, clutching laundry that required no folding, tending to plants that were far from parched, replaying that final conversation in her mind endlessly. Its words hung in the corners of her home, reminiscent of the aroma of coffee that stubbornly clung to the air. "I shall wait, though my patience has its limits." Since that day, silence had enveloped her, and while she convinced herself that space was necessary, the truth was that his absence pierced through her, a sharp and undeniable ache. One evening, she sat on the very couch where it had all commenced. The film they had once seen lingered in the air, a ghost of memories past. Dusty, the room remained unchanged, yet she had transformed. Twice that night she reached for her phone, only to withdraw her hand each time. She found herself grappling with the anxiety of embracing the unknown, yet the stirring it had ignited within her was impossible to dismiss. After years of feeling nothing, she had at last experienced a sensation once more, and that was not something one could simply walk away from. The following morning, Elena approached her mailbox, only to discover something peculiar inside. A delicate, folded slip of paper bearing her name in elegant handwriting. She recognized it immediately. .Z&IN. One last time. The message stated, "I shall be at the lake bench at 7 p.m. Should you arrive, it will be clear that you share the same sentiment. If not, I shall vanish as if it were all but a fleeting memory." Her heart contorted. For an hour, she remained seated on her bed, her gaze fixed on the note. Time flowed onward. The sun dipped lower in the sky. As the moment arrived, Elena rose to her feet. The heavens were adorned with gentle hues of lavender and delicate strokes of pale gold. Upon her arrival at the lake, the wind lay in a tranquil hush. Silence enveloped the world. Zeta perched on the wooden bench, her gaze fixed on the shimmering expanse of water before her. His shoulders bore the weight of unspoken tension. His hands intertwined, a silent testament to his thoughts. Initially, he overlooked her presence. Elena approached him with deliberate slowness. Heart racing as if it had awakened from a long slumber. He pivoted at the sound of her approaching footsteps. Sand's eyes grew wide with disbelief. As you arrived, he exhaled softly. "I almost didn't," she confessed, positioning herself directly in front of him. Yet, a dawning realization struck me. If I chose not to attend, I would carry the weight of that regret for all my days to come. He rose gradually, a smile still absent from his face, anticipating. "I've been afraid," she confessed. "Afraid of judgment, afraid of causing pain, afraid of erring." Eli inclined his head in acknowledgement. "I comprehend." Yet a thought crossed my mind. Could it be that the true error lies in turning away from something genuine? He released a breath, as though he had been suspended in time, waiting for this moment for an eternity. "I don't possess all the answers," she added, "yet I am acutely aware of the emotions that stir within me in your presence, and I am aware that such a feeling is a rare visitor. Not at this stage of life, not suited for someone of my kind." Eli advanced with purpose. His voice arrived softly, precisely when it is intended to. Elena lifted her gaze to meet his, gaze brimming with trepidation and aspiration. "Do you truly believe that? I have never felt more certain." They lingered in quietude for a heartbeat, allowing the gravity of their unvoiced emotions to rest heavily in the space that separated them. Then, with a calm assurance and no trace of doubt, he extended his hand toward hers, and this time, Elena remained close. They settled onto the bench, fingers entwined, gazing as the sky transformed into a tapestry of stars. Promises were absent, labels non-existent, and the path forward remained shrouded in uncertainty. Yet in that instant, Elena was acutely aware of one undeniable truth. At times, love dances to its own rhythm, unbound by the constraints of convention. It effortlessly navigates to the heart that is meant for it. Even when it comes after the expected time,